Welcome to the Wellness in Asheville podcast, where we shine a light on the people, practices, and places that make this city one of the most inspiring wellness communities in the country. I'm your host, Travis Richardson, founder of Be Well Asheville, your local news source for health, wellness, and community events. All right, welcome back to the Wellness in Asheville podcast. Today, I had the pleasure of sitting down with Ceiara Cartony of Namaste in Nature to dive deep into yoga in nature, meditation, mindful connection, and a ton more. And what I loved most about this recording was how it reinforced my own belief that some of the most powerful transformation and personal growth happens outside rather than inside. Certified to teach yoga since 2014, Ceiara quickly fell in love with merging movement and mindfulness with the beauty of the natural world. What began as regular classes in the park has blossomed into guiding yoga and meditation within the outdoor green spaces, Blue Ridge mountaintops, and beside cascading waterfalls. Each encounter a moment of pure enchantment. And as she puts it, there is a unique magic that comes alive when we practice outdoors, and it's her greatest joy to share that transformative experience with others. All right, let's get into it. So today we have Ceiara Cartony on the Wellness in Asheville podcast here to talk to us about all things related to yoga as it's done in nature, meditation, mindful connection, and a ton more. How are you doing today, Ceiara?
Hi, Travis. Thanks so much for the opportunity to be here. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite topics, anything related to nature. I think I've found for myself more times of transformation and personal growth that have happened outside than ever inside. And I hate to say it, like that even is true of like classes that I've taken, even sessions that people are putting on inside. So like this is really near and dear to my heart, and I am excited to hear more about how you came to this this path yourself. Like, what do you love about being in nature?
That's super special that you can appreciate that. So thanks for sharing that. Um, doing yoga in nature kind of fell into my lap organically. It actually started when I was a new mom and I was a full-time stay-at-home mom. I shortly after became a certified instructor, and I didn't have the availability to accommodate a studio schedule. So I started teaching with a group that was at the park down in Florida. And it became my everything, being a mom and being within my community out in the park. And it just kind of evolved from there.
Yeah, and you have you do quite a few different things even around Asheville. You get involved in, you do a sunset yoga, and like what are all the things that you do currently?
Yoga in the Park Asheville was my first baby in 2019, and I also became part of Namaste in Nature back in the same time. And it was really a passion to just pursue this practice outdoors, just being within the natural elements around us. I'm also tonight teaching a class with Asheville Salt Cave for the first time, doing a sunset on the deck collaborative, and we have another one in October. But yeah, any place that I can find to unroll a mat outside is the goal.
So tell me more about that. You know, like a lot of people do yoga inside, but nobody, or a lot of people I don't think consider yoga being done outside. And because there's the elements of the weather, maybe too hot, too cold, or what have you. So I guess what do you find more beneficial or as beneficial to do it outside than you do inside?
I think it brings a new awareness of our practice, having the element of nature kind of chiming in unexpectedly. Say we're in triangle pose and looking up at the sky, and all of a sudden you see a butterfly floating across the class. You can feel the rays of sun hit your skin on a colder day, or you're underneath the trees and it's warmer out, but you feel the breeze kind of braze across your skin. And it really just adds so much more to the practice that is not available to you within the classroom. And I feel like also doing yoga on the earth's surface, it's not always even, it's not always super solid. And that really creates a whole different foundation to your practice and your strengths within your body. Um, I always encourage students to give themselves a lot of grace because we're not on even ground. But over the how many years have I been practicing outside? So many years, over 15, probably at this point, 10, 15 years. My practice is just so solid and supported because of that incorporation of kind of going with the flow of what nature presents.
Hmm. Yeah, like, for me, I've had experiences when I'm out in nature, especially when I'm being more inward focused, where I feel that I'm more like one with like what's going on in the woods. Like I feel, I'm looking around and no, I feel more a part of, I guess, just the earth itself. It sounds kind of funny to say that, but there's such an aliveness outside. There's birds and there's wind and there's sun and there's clouds and everything is moving. The grass is moving, the tree leaves are moving, the insects are moving and you're moving. And it just feels a lot more, it's easier for me to sort of get in sync with my own rhythm because there's like this rhythm all around me as well, you know?
Absolutely. Nature is cueing you constantly to kind of slow down and disconnect and really be in your space. And it could be a challenge if you're not used to being outside and you get, distracted by things that are outside naturally. But over time, I think it really helps us connect more with what we hold in ourselves, because we come from nature and we have evolved in such an overstimulated culture of screens and devices and being out in the woods on trails or within our park space really allows us to create time to craft around being within yourself and your breath and your mind and not everything else.
Totally. What's your like biggest aha moment that you've ever had? Have you ever had like any pretty decent transformation experiences for yourself, or is it just sort of a thing that you just do like low level? How has it showed up for you?
It's funny. I really can't pinpoint one moment. I mean, I have so many stories, but I think it doesn't matter how often and how much time I've spent with my mind and my body and my breath in nature, it never gets old. There's always something that comes up that I feel so glad I did that. So glad I spent the time and the efforts to get to where I was going and be with my mental space and my body of movement and breath. Um, I recently had gone just last week. I was sick, battling a cold, and I had to go up to Craggy Gardens. It was recently open, and that's one of our micro retreat locations. And I had to go. I had no choice but to go that day while I was sick. And I'm like, well, we're gonna do this. I'm going up this hike. It's a short but steeper hike, and certainly not something I wanted to do when I had a head cold going on. And I felt so good in my body after that, and it kept with me to the point where I was laying in bed and I felt like I had too much coffee that day, but I
Mm,
had not changed my caffeine intake or anything, and it was clear that that natural being on the mountaintop, especially in that area, was so invigorating and so beneficial.
Well, that's I'm told there's like an energy vortex somewhere up and then around there. Is that maybe that's part of your the vibes you were getting, huh?
Absolutely. Yes, Craggy Gardens is known for falling within the space in the mountains. There's these what they call ley lines, and they're intersecting lines that go around the earth and through landscapes. And when they intersect, they form like energy pockets. And this energy is said to be at the Craggy Gardens, specifically where we do our meditation on at a gazebo that's about halfway up the trail. Um, but that space is absolutely special. There are natural quartz pieces sticking up out of the ground. We've had some really beautiful uh, micro retreats and groups there that have felt that beautiful energy of
Yeah,
connection.
very cool. And just for the listeners, quartz is kind of like a conductor of frequency. It like really amplifies and resonates with the Earth's frequency. So I guess the idea is being around quartz, you're sort of getting the main benefit. Now, we also are on the same ley line, I think, as Sedona, which is like a really very well known spiritual
Yes.
place out there. So I think, is that right? Am I right about that?
We've had people come and say, "We've been to Sedona, now we wanna come over here and try our experience at Craggy Gardens." Yeah.
Yeah, cool. I have a quick little story I heard the other day. This is some lore of Asheville. Maybe a lot of the listeners haven't heard. Pretty interesting. And that is, we have a little off topic, but it's sort of still there. Dr. Vasant Lad, who he owns Ayurveda.com. He's the guy that brought Ayurveda literally to the West, in my opinion. I think they used to be out his organization in Santa Fe. Well, the story goes, I was told from somebody amongst their organization, is that when he was looking for a new place to locate, he wanted to find a place that was sustainable for his mission, spiritual mission, health and wellness mission, yoga. I mean, he's got a pretty sizable international presence, and could have went anywhere. I mean, literally could have went anywhere and set up shop. But he chose Asheville because when he got off the airplane, he's like, this is it. Like, it was said that he knew right away, this is it. So his team had went on ahead of him and figured out, like, where are the spots to go. And they're like, all right, we think we found one. It's in Asheville. And he comes out here. He's like, yeah, you're right. so Asheville, like, the truth is we got some stuff going on, and it's maybe it's the courts, maybe it's something else, but there's some sensitive people that feel it.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hey everyone, this episode is supported by the 9th annual Love Shine Play Yoga Festival happening right here in Asheville, North Carolina, July 23rd through the 26th. If you're looking for a summer experience that actually nourishes your body, mind, and spirit, this is it. You know, I've always said that Asheville is one of the most magical places for this kind of thing because of the energy that we have here. We've got the Blue Ridge Mountains as our backdrop, that creative, open-hearted community vibe that you only find in Asheville. And this festival captures all of that perfectly. You've got world-class yoga teachers, inspiring workshops, live music, nature experiences, and just a really beautiful, heart-centered community coming together for 4 days. If that sounds something like your soul is calling for this summer, go check it out at loveshineplay.com and grab your tickets. All right. Thanks so much to Love Shine Play for supporting the show. And now let's jump back into it.
Absolutely. It is a beautiful place. I mean, like I said, I've done specifically one of our tours hundreds of times, and I look forward to it every time like I've never been.
Yeah. So tell me more about the micro retreats, and then how also, like, how do you run I mean, if I were to go on a hike and then do yoga afterwards, how long is the hike? What is the terrain like? Like, how do you weave that in such that it's mindful and not going to be too like overwhelming to do all of it? I'm just curious how
Yeah.
the whole thing gets ran.
Well, that's exactly the goal with Namaste Nature, is so that it is all people that are most able-bodied accessible. Um, our tours, we have 3 different locations with 4 different tour options. We have our Craggy Gardens location. It actually takes place right now, starting from the Craggy Gardens Visitor Center. It was formerly starting at the picnic area, but that is still under construction with post-Helene damages. So we hope by I think the end of next year, it should be ready. But it's basically the same experience. That tours 2 hours, and we incorporate our hiking with surrounding history and wisdom of the area, of the surrounding trees and flowers and all the things that just make the Blue Ridge Mountains so beautiful. And then we incorporate an all levels friendly yoga session separate from a meditation. So there's a meditation piece and a yoga piece. Um, we have a team of 12 of us, guides, certified instructors, and we all have an authentic offering. Some of us offer oracle card readings. Some of us bring essential oils or even crystals. Hot tea. It depends on the time of year, but a lot of the times for our mountaintop, because it is significantly higher. Once you get to the Bald, it is 5,600 feet. So it's usually at least 20 degrees colder up there than it is in the city of Asheville. So we like to provide hot tea, but just all really the opportunity to disconnect from your day-to-day agenda. We even take pictures throughout the entire tour, and the guests receive that 48 hours after their hike in an email so that they can be completely immersed and not worried about capturing the moments. That's part of what we do.
Nice.
Um, our other 2 locations, we are at Tom's Creek Falls in Marion, and that location specifically has an old mica mine ruin. The entrance of the mine was actually accessible, well, not to actually go in it, but to see it, view it, and take pictures in front of it. But right now it's currently covered in trees from Storm Helene. So we're hoping that will be unveiled once again, checking it out during the winter months. Um, but that is a really cool location. There's not actually a lot of information on that location, but it was an area that was used for mining mica. And the flood that happened in 1916 shut down that structure for good, and they no longer used it. But there is remains of it, what is to believed an old water wheel alongside
Cool.
the waterfall. And there's an area where we bring our guests that I call it the private oasis. And it's, you get up to the top of where the waterfall comes down, and it's like this private little cove. And we sometimes do our meditation there. And then, depending on your group, sometimes we go beyond, and there's a private waterfall a little bit further down.
Nice.
That trail is under a mile to the actual 60-foot waterfall. And there's locations within the woods that we do our yoga sequence alongside the river. And then our third location is Catawba Falls, which is one of the most popular waterfall locations in Western North Carolina. This is 1.2 miles to the 100-foot waterfall. Absolutely spectacular. There are many different water elements throughout the trail leading up to the actual waterfall. And there's an old hydroelectric system building that remains that used to power the whole town of Old Fort back in 1920s.
Ooh, that's cool.
Yeah, there's the remaining dam, and there's a few old structures that still remain. Super cool.
That's fun. Yeah.
Yeah, so the waterfall tours are 3 hours long because they're a little bit longer. Yeah.
But how many people are from like Ashevilleans versus how many are from out of town?
So the majority of our guests that attend are visitors, are people that um, I think it falls into most people frequent the area um, and visit every year, but some people have never even been on a hiking trail before, have never experienced yoga before, which is again why we make our experiences all levels. You don't need any hiking gear or any special shoes or anything. We recommend closed shoes, but you can certainly be comfortable in what you're doing with us. And we are all ready to accommodate the absolute beginner to experienced practitioners as well.
Well, I think it's really cool that you kind of hit a lot of you get a few birds with one stone, I guess, which is that you're connecting with the nature piece, you're connecting with each other, so you're solving for what I would say is a lot of the loneliness that we have, and some of the most powerful modalities that you can bring to bear on loneliness is spending time in nature. One, number two, spending time with others. And three, spending time with yourself and really checking in with yourself, and that's via yoga. And you also are providing a bit of a history as you as you walk on the hike as well. So
Absolutely.
I feel like, and I really love that's something I really like about Asheville in general, is the way that we're so creative here. We have so many people that are doing such cool things like that, where they're taking this modality and this experience and that experience and combining them and trying to figure out ways to create wellness in a way that's unique. We have a really unique culture around all this, and I think and Namaste in nature is all part of that. So I think it's really awesome what you're doing. How do you see your business expanding? I know we had the hurricane, obviously. As has all wellness related and other tourist related businesses have suffered, of course. How have you recovered? What's your kind of going forward plan? And where do you see yourself expanding into in the coming years?
I love that question. I actually,
It was a lot.
um,
Apologize for
no,
three questions.
no, yeah. So when Helene hit, we were like, oh God, like Catawba Falls had just recently opened from renovations, and it had only been open so long. And so we were just getting excited to be back on the trail with that. And Craggy Gardens is also a seasonal. We do our waterfall hikes year round, but Craggy Gardens was seasonal. So it was about that time where we were done at that location. And we were really just waiting to hear from the Parkway Service of updates. And we're really excited we get to utilize the space a little bit longer this year. It was really just about waiting and letting nature heal, and respecting what will be of the new tours if we needed to change anything due to any damages. But for the most part, everything kind of picked up where we left off, and we were very fortunate. I have a very patient team waiting of just kind of waiting for Asheville to bounce back and be on the rise, and that's exactly what's happening. I know that there were a lot of businesses lost, and it's been a slower season naturally, but we're looking forward to what's to come. We will pursue yoga in the park till the end of October, sometimes through mid-November. But during the winter months is the slower time of the season naturally every year, and it's a really good time that we regroup. Um, I have something that I can't actually talk about just yet, but something very exciting.
Yeah, those are my favorite. You can allude to it though.
I'm like, so I really, it's like not 100% legit, but it set, so I can't say anything just yet, but we do have, I mean, partnering with Asheville Salt Cave, for instance, having opportunities like that is just so wonderful because that's a local event. So I'm really excited for that. Even though weather is looking a little weary, that's always our main concern with weather. And I didn't talk about that yet, but really what we like to do is learn how to dance in the rain. It's not about what the weather's looking like. It's about what you're wearing and being prepared for it. So we do our micro retreats and classes, all weather accommodating, unless it's threatening, flooding or lightning, thunderstorms, we will cancel. But usually we wait until last minute as our weather's very shifty. This hopeful, super exciting thing coming up will be incorporating micro retreats in the local community, not just I mean, everybody's always welcome, but the demographic for our micro retreats just happens to fall into people visiting and not living here. And so we have some things that we're going to expand. I mean, I do have various talents on our team, and I've been all year thinking about how we can bring more diverse options to what we can do within our spaces of sound healing. We have various wellness and healing practitioners of their unique crafts within our team. So
Nice. Well, you're using the inner resources that you already have, and that's always easier to do than to go out and find someone else that's not on your team. So that makes sense. And also, I have seen that there's a lot of business owners. You're not the first to say that there's been a turning back to the community of Asheville to sort of revamp or reframe some of their offerings so that it's a little more appealing to the local crowd, just because there's less of the non-local crowd. And I think that's a smart move, and I think that it's appreciated too, because the people here are hungry for experiences that are especially outdoors. I mean, we have a lot of the people that move to Asheville specifically do here because it's such an amazing place to do outdoor activities. So I think you're really in alignment here with what you're saying, if that comes to fruition. And of course, by the way, let me know how I can help, because I love supporting that kind of thing. And micro retreats, so these are like half day events. You probably maybe you said it earlier. They're like half day events. Like, how are they? Why would somebody? So pitch that to a local who's listening. Why would they want to come to a micro retreat?
Well, it's an excuse to get out in nature and not have a commitment of 2, 3, 4+ days of traveling, of spending a ton of money.
Restart.
So our micro retreats are intended to be like a microdose of wellness. So you're not overcommitting your time. We start our micro retreats first thing in the morning to avoid crowds, to create that serene environment for the experience. And you've done your yoga, you've done your meditation and your movement after 2 or 3 hours, and you still have time for the rest of the day. And you feel really good in your body because that's how you started your day.
Yeah, I think that, and then so you have other modalities too. Like, would you have like maybe the sound healing, some sort of restorative processes that you'd have people go through as well?
Yeah, we have some people on our team that offer sound healing options if it's requested by our guests. I always encourage everybody, if they want to bring a singing bowl on their hike with them, like a smaller one, not our crystal larger ones. And absolutely, we strive to teach a yoga practice that is complementary to our hike, because we're working up, our heart rate, we're using our legs a lot. So we're certainly not going to go into the woods, get on our mats and do some crazy vinyasa power flow. It's purposefully all levels accommodating, but more of like a slow, mindful movement of let's be in our bodies, let's observe the nature around us and unravel all the movement that we just did through our hike.
Here's another question I've been curious about, just in general, and I love asking these kinds of questions because they speak to something that I think is really important right now, which is that of we have an epidemic of loneliness and depression, and we all are so connected. And because we're so connected, we're very disconnected, if you know what I mean. Have you seen an increase in demand and desire for more wellness related events like what you do that are done in groups and in communities? Like you've been doing this for at least what, 5, 6 years now. Have you seen any changes over the course of 5 or 6 years, even in that regard?
I've actually I see a lot of solo people, which I love. Like for a minute, we had contemplated on maybe not allowing single bookings. It is, um, sometimes people don't want a one-on-one experience. We really want to incorporate like group experiences, but we've had both and we love offering one-on-one, but we also love the fact that people solo travel and want to incorporate wellness or getting out in nature, but they're not familiar with the town or whatever it may be. And they have the opportunity to join in on a public tour. Um, and I've had people just one-on-one tell you their life story and you have this connection. We always say every guide ends up with the group that they're meant to be with because some of the people and the reflections of the experiences from the guides and the guests are just transformative. I can say for me this I did this hike with this one person and they said I felt like I left with a new best friend. Like it was
Mm,
that kind of connection and they were able to be vulnerable because they didn't have other people along the trail with them. But then there's the other group experiences where people make friends and end up connecting the rest of the time of their time in town and maybe reconnect years to come because they had that opportunity to meet with strangers and feel supported and comfortable.
totally. I honestly think that's honestly the best place to meet people is on hikes. I mean, for me, there's something special about moving through the woods, and it's sort of kind of like you're just like on a mission to do some things together, and it feels like there's a little bit of you have to support each other too. Maybe this person didn't bring water. Well, this person has water, or this
Right.
person gets a cramp in their leg on the way, and you have to stop and be like, "Hey, it's cool. I'll stop with you here." And there's just so much to talk about, and it seems like words come out so much easier, and even things that are sometimes hard to talk about just come flowing right out on a hike. Feels like it's this natural permission that we all give ourselves to just be ourselves. I think that's a really important thing. So, thanks for offering that to people. I love that what you do. um, by the way, one of my best friends I ever met was on a hike. It was the craziest thing. Like hike, I'm like, and I say to him, I said, his actually it was his wife. I said, I was just speaking in general. I said, "Oh my God, look at this view out there!" Like it was around the Arboretum area. And I said, "Look at the view here." And she's like, "Oh my gosh, it is. It's really amazing, isn't it?" And all of a sudden, she's like, we start talking about some hikes and things, and she's like, "Hey, you should meet my husband." And so he comes over, and we start talking, and pretty soon we're scheduling a bike ride together. So those are the cool stories I think that can happen. Um,
Yes.
yeah. So, okay, about you. I'm curious what you have as far as I'm curious about your favorite personal hikes or outdoor things that you like to do when you have time. Of course, if you're doing everything for others, it's always sometimes challenging, but like what hikes do you like to do around Asheville?
Oh,
I,
there's so many.
so, I know, like as soon as I said that, I'm like, I just asked probably the hardest question so far. If somebody asked me that, I would say for me it's Black Balsam Knob.
Yeah.
I love it over there, and it's such a rewarding hike to see the vistas, once you're up there.
The Art Loeb Trail and John Rock is awesome. The trail out in Montreat, it's slipping my mind right now. Uh,
I know what you're
that
talking about. That's a good one too.
it could be short. Gosh, why am I forgetting? It could be a short loop of a mile, or it could go like 7 miles. And I accidentally hiked it one day. That day, I went to the lookout trail across down the street from there. I forget what it was called. It was only like a mile to the top. And when I got to the top, there were so many people up there, and I was like, I really wanted more connection in nature. It was a very
Mm.
crowded trail. So I went down the street and did accidental 7 miles because I didn't read the map very well, and it was my first time. And I I I came back down and it started snowing. And it was my first time on this trail, and I did not see the trail, so I started getting anxious, but I was like, I'm tuning into my surroundings and really just like getting connected with nature's cues, and that's how I found my way back to the actual entrance, because by the time I got back to the, lower area, it was completely covered in snow, and you just couldn't see anything.
Dang.
It's
Those are some of the best
really
stories though. Those make the best stories later on. It's when you accidentally go somewhere where you probably shouldn't. Uh,
that was beautiful.
I did that out at Joshua Tree, and that was a no go. That was like not good because I was out in the desert, man. It was like freezing, and I had to GPS call my buddy. Thank God it worked because I had lost my way because there was no like trail to really follow. So I was out there, and
Wow.
I'm like I look back, I'm like surely I'm going to be able to remember this is what it looks like from this perspective. So am like, I'll just keep going and straight. And I did for a while. I looked back and I'm like, you know what? For the life of me, I have no freaking idea what I was looking at before, but I don't see how to get back from where I'm at. If anybody's been out west too, you don't want to get lost in Joshua Tree or
Gosh.
Death Valley or whatever it is out there. It's like not really amazing. So, one wellness ritual for you, like that you swear by? Like, what do you do anything else that you love wellness related?
I mean, it's not unique to what I what I love to offer is meditation. I mean, I think that a meditation practice is so important, and it's so underrated. Um, it's a hard discipline, but it doesn't if you're very connected with the routine of getting into a meditation that it becomes effective, it is the balance to everything. And it's really just understanding how to get there, and it's not that hard if you let it in.
So and you can help me here. So here's my two things. So I used to do transcendental meditation back like literally 30 years ago. It was a long time. And I did it pretty seriously. I did it twice a day, 20 minutes was the prescription for that. And I really actually was really transforming quite rapidly as a person. I was much more calm inside and just kind of had a better, more serene sense of self. Like I just kind of was like, I floated through life a little bit differently than I had before I started meditating, and I had gotten out of it. And I haven't really meditated since. I'm 49 years old now, and that was like when I was 20, 22, 23, something like that. And I don't know. I don't know what my sticking point is, but it feels like taking the time to meditate when it feels like it's not going to result in any tangible outcome. That's where my brain goes. That's where my mind is totally trips me up. How would you tell somebody like me to start back or to start a meditation practice in the easiest way that would feel good to make me want to do it? Because it feels like to me, it feels sometimes like a chore. I'm just be honest, and I
Get
don't
it?
like that about myself. I don't. I honestly wish I could change that, but even then, that's like not even amazing, right? The fact that I even just said that that I don't like that about myself.
No,
Uh,
no, I think that meditation really helps us find clarity. Again, we're in a world that is just so overstimulated all the time. It's so many expectations and tasks and agendas. And when do we stop? When we sleep? I mean, if we're consciously trying to check out but still be here, that is truly the way to go. I have, again, so many stories of finding clarity and balance in my life, and it's always because of meditation and movement, not necessarily like yoga, but just movement and allowing things to surface. And that's what meditation does for us, is we are becoming witness to what is, and we're being put into a place that feels uncomfortable. And that is the first step in releasing what we don't need. That is the first step of facing these big things that we hold on to. And meditation just helps us find that truth and stay connected to that over and over.
Mm. Do
It's
you?
never going to be, I'm sorry,
No,
it's
keep
never going
going.
to be a solid, it's not like, okay, I've done that, I'm going to check this off my list and move
Yeah.
forward. It's always something that needs to come back, like changing your socks, like drinking water every day is has to be replenished.
I feel like sometimes just when even like I'm focusing on my breath, like it puts me into a meditation that is spontaneous. And sometimes that's what I'll do. I'll just be aware. It's like being aware of your posture. Like right now, I'm like, oh, I should sit up
Right.
straight. And then
Right.
I'm like, oh, I should check in with my breath. And already that's getting me into a different like level of consciousness. And I think for me, I guess I do a little I call them micro meditations, I guess, that are probably 30 seconds to maybe a minute long. So like with meditation, for me, I sometimes also will go on a walk, and that seems to be, I wouldn't know if I would call it meditation, but it definitely clears my mind. What kind of meditations do you do? Do you do walking meditations? Are you more seated? Are you lying down? What do you consider meditation?
I It's funny you should ask. Over the years of experience, meditation practice has changed a little bit, but for the most part, finding a clear, quiet space, clearing my environment around me, sitting and being in a quiet, meditative space with my mala beads, but not always utilizing mala beads. That was one thing that I really needed to help me stay on track with embedding myself in meditation. But if I work through Dirga breath, which is the 3-part breath, starting from the low belly to the midsection to the chest and then back down, just going through a few rounds of Dirga breath to get my mind connected to stillness and quiet, and then just surrendering to that and trusting in that. And I think that that's the biggest key, and something that I live by over the past decade is to trust and let go, and trust and let go over and over.
I love that. And one thing I also have learned too is you don't need 1,000 different modalities, and you don't need to search out for what is the best one. Like I have that tendency to kind of do that. What you really need to do is find one that you like and repeat it over and over again. I think because that's what came up for me when you just said trust the process. It's like find something you like. It's like exercise. Find the thing you like and do it, and don't worry
Absolutely.
about researching, is it the best thing, or it's like, nah, you like it, it's the best for you, go with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Anything.
with the moving meditation you're keeping your mind focused on your drishti, your focal point ahead of you, and your breath and how it's moving in your body, and keeping your breath regulated and not heightened or becoming erratic. And that is a pretty key part of moving meditation.
Yeah, yeah, thanks for that. Thanks for that. Well, is there any other words of wisdom? I think we'll get ready to wrap it up for today. It's been an awesome conversation, like really finding out more about you. But what else do you have to share with the audience? What words of wisdom do you want to leave people with?
I keep bringing it back to nature. I mean, I it's such a big part of my life, so I feel it's interesting to even think too much about it, but it's such a beautiful place that we live in. No matter if you're in a city or a beautiful mountain space, find a green space. It is scientifically proven that it brings wellness into our body and better sleep and improves blood pressure and all the things. It's just an endless list. But keep bringing it back to nature. Don't let the weather be an excuse as to why you're not going out in nature. Even throughout the winter, we are out on our micro retreats, 30 degrees out, and we are doing yoga in the woods. And it is the most invigorating and beautiful experience. Just layer up.
Who needs a cold plunge when you're with Namaste in
Right.
nature in the
Oh my
winter?
gosh. I feel like these are my favorite hikes is I am so on top of the day and my thoughts when I've
Yeah.
just done that experience.
That's awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you for your time, Ceiara. It's been really, really
Thank you,
fun. I
Travis.
do hope you're welcome. And I do hope to come out onto an experience
Yes.
with
Please
Namaste
let
in
me
nature.
know. We'd
Yeah.
love to have you.
Absolutely. Thank you. And have a great day.
Thank you too.
Thanks again to Ceiara Cartony for this inspiring conversation. To find her and join the experience, check out Namaste in Nature for their micro retreats, yoga in the park sessions, and upcoming events. You can find all the details and sign up at namasteinnature.com or follow them on social media. Get outside, move with nature, and give yourself that gift of presence. If you enjoyed the episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend. And until next time, be well. Thank you for listening. You can catch the next episode while watching the sunset from the Grove Park Inn, wandering through Pack Square, taking a quiet morning walk through Biltmore Estate. You can check out more Asheville wellness news and events and join our newsletter at bewellasheville.com. And as always, thank you for being the best part of our wellness community. And until next time, be well.